Hello, I'm Dr. James Bogash, expert in health and longevity and creator of Bogash Life and Balance. And today we're going to talk a little bit about autism and a simple thing that we can do to have a positive impact on risk of autism. And clearly, the raw number of autism or autistic spectrum disorder has gone up over the years. It's not just a matter of reporting, the raw numbers have gone up. There's certainly things like vaccination that have played a role. We know that things like Tylenol can affect hyperactivity disorder, so maybe it affects it in other aspects of the brain. The amount of fats that we take in. There's a lot of things that go on in brain development in both pregnancy and infancy and toddlerhood that have a big impact on brain health. Gut health is another one. Like antibiotics completely throw off that balance between the immune system and even the brain at that point. So this is a really simple approach, and it's not a terribly big surprise, but it still surprises me how many people are not taking vitamin D, especially at decent levels, given all of the research that we have and the fact that the reality is we're supposed to be getting sunlight exposure. We were designed for sunlight exposure. Our ancestors didn't have, SPF 80, and they were hanging out all day in the sun. Like I always say, my Irish ancestors were not hanging out at the equator, but they were certainly outside all day long. So in this particular study, looking at 1,558 pregnant women and their matched controls, looking at how much vitamin D levels had to do with risk of being diagnosed with autism in the child after it was born. And there was a very clear association with vitamin D levels. And what they consider, just what we see everywhere, what they consider low is like really low. They're considering low as an 8 value, or we shouldn't even touch it at 20. Their insufficiency is around 16. Like it's still really low. But the bottom line is that low vitamin D is playing a role in what's going on in these developing infants' brains. And so it's simple enough. And then you combine that with studies looking at conception especially in the winter or spring. So, December, January, February, March especially, these years where low vitamin D exposure, low sunlight exposure are likely. Of course, that depends on the climate that you're in, but there's definitely associations there. So vitamin D is playing a role somewhere in the health of your yet unborn infant's brain. And so it would make sense to me, especially as a pregnant woman, to be taking a decent level of vitamin D. I myself take 6,000 IUs a day, and I get what I call rational sun exposure. I don't ever hesitate to be out in the sun. I'll protect my head and my ears because I don't have a lot of natural sunscreen there. But being out arms, legs, if I'm out, I just did my first surfing lessons last month, and I was out for about 2 hours. I didn't use any sunscreen, and just rational sun exposure. A lot of that has to do with your skin type, but vitamin D during pregnancy is very important. Or see about timing conception. So if you're going to get knocked up, try doing it in June, July, August, maybe, if you're not willing to take the vitamin D. As always, I'll post a link to this particular study in the description. Make sure you like this video, share it with somebody who you think needs the information, and subscribe to the channel.